Hello, everyone. Sean from Buckeye Wedding Expo here. Today, we're talking with Tyler from Tap Truck of Dayton on tips for choosing unique services for your wedding. Hi, Tyler. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having me. Glad I could join.
Well, we have some really interesting things to talk about today, both informative and also just great tips on choosing unique things for your wedding. First,
Yeah,
I'd like to just open it up for you. Tell us more about you, about Tap Truck Dayton. Tell us more about your services.
yeah. So my name's Tyler Hance, and me and my wife run Tap Truck Dayton. It is a mobile bar service in the Dayton area. We have 5 taps on the back of our truck. It's a 1965 Ford F100, so older model truck. We can bring that truck to venues and serve beer, cocktails, anything right out of the back of our truck. So just bringing that mobile bar service and that conversational piece.
Well, I'm sure you get this a lot, but what gave you the idea to start a business like that? It's a very unique thing. So, how did you come up with the idea?
So for a couple years, I kind of wanted to do something on my own. Something that I could call, me and my wife could call ours. So I started doing some research online. I've always thought about the mobile bar service. Always thought it was a cool concept, something that would be, awesome for a wedding, something that people would enjoy. So I started doing some research online and came across Tap Truck USA, which is a company that's based out of San Diego, California, and with doing that research, I saw that they were franchising their name out. And with me always wanting to do something like that, I was like, you know what? I'd love to pull the trigger on something like this. I knew it'd be something that'd be really cool for this area, and something that people would enjoy a lot. So it took us a couple years, but me and my wife finally talked about it, and in 2025, about May or June of 2025, we finally decided to pull that trigger, and it's been a whirlwind, and it's been a ton of fun. So
Well, as great of a conversation piece, and we're going to get into more details about that. There's a lot of legality that goes into a bar. And so,
sure.
can you walk me through the process of how does it start from the beginning of looking at the tap truck and going, I definitely want this at my wedding? How does the process work all the way up until the wedding day?
Sure. So when people start talking to us about the truck, one thing we like to let them know is, we bring all the alcohol with us. We can pick it up, bring it, hook it up, and we'll return it all for them. So from start, they had that conversation with us about booking the truck, and then from there, it kind of goes into alcohol and how they want their alcohol, delivered and all that. And one thing we like to make sure people do know is that in the state of Ohio, it's a dry hire state, so we have to make sure people know that while we can pick up the alcohol for you and return it, we typically always do that. All of the alcohol does have to be purchased by our customer, and that is made. We do make sure that they know that when they're booking us, just because we don't want them to have any surprises. Obviously, they're booking us for the convenience of it, not to have to do a bunch of work. So, and then once we get all that settled, we do that about 2 weeks out before the wedding. We'll have a alcohol consultation with them and decide everything that they want. They would purchase that. From there, we would go pick everything up for them. Um, Bring it to the event, hook everything up to our truck, and then we would actually return everything for them as well if they would like us to do that. And then any kind of like deposits or anything like that that they had to pay for the kegs, we would return all that to them. So
Well, when it comes to choosing, though, there's so many choices out there. Do you help them choose? Is there limitations? What is able to come through the tap, I suppose, is a good question.
yeah, absolutely. We can really tap anything. So we can tap beer, which is what a lot of people like to do. Obviously, you see those taps, and that's what you think is like, hey, draft beer. We've tapped cocktails, batch cocktails. So we have these things called corny kegs, and we can book up any batch up almost any kind of like mixed drink they'd like into those corny kegs and pour those out of the side of the truck. We can do wine service. So if that's something that they want us to do, we're more than happy to, serve wine for them. And then also non-alcoholic stuff. So canned pop, tea, lemonade, to the point where we can even tap like lemonade, tea, and pop if it's in the right situation. Not everybody has like kegged pop, but we've had situations where they have, or keg soda, and we can tap all of that onto the side of the truck. and pour that for people. So we've done a lot of lemonade and a lot of tea, and it's always a fun cool thing to do. So we can pretty much tap anything. We try and make it as convenient as possible. So
Well, super popular is like a signature drink, like something
yeah.
that's themed for the couple. You're able to do that on the taps too?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've done weddings where we had the bride told us exactly what she wanted, what kind of drink she wanted in those 20 kegs for the batch cocktail. And the really cool thing is we were able to create that for her, and we named them after her dogs, which is really cool. So it added that really cool personal touch for her.
So you can do, is there a limit of how many taps can be going at the same time, or how does that work as far as the number of taps?
So as of right now, we have 5 taps on the back of our truck. So like if we're just using the truck, you can do up to all 5 taps. We typically tell people that it's a minimum of 3, but that can also be, depending on the situation. We're happy to talk about if there's a need for less than that. But we try and keep it at 3, and they can go all the way up to the 5 taps that are on the back of the truck.
So when it comes to the taps though, is there a separate bar that's there? Do you replace the bar or are you with the bar? How does that work if you want something other than the taps?
Yeah, so it's all mobile. So we have a mobile bar that we literally set up in front of the taps, that we serve out of. So it's just like a regular mobile bar that we bring in, to serve out of the actual truck. But we have a tap wall coming out soon. It's going to be we'll have lots of pictures of it, and hopefully booking that out. It's got 3 taps on it to where we can even take that inside in an event venue now, and still take our mobile bar that we have on the inside of the event and be able to serve, um, you know, non-alcoholic beer, all of the batch cocktails, everything out of those taps that are on our new tap wall. So try and make it to where, if they want to book us, we can, try and make it as convenient for them as possible. So.
Well, that brings up a good point when it comes to bringing the truck. How does that work with the venues? Do you coordinate that? Does the client have to coordinate that? How does that work?
We try and coordinate as much as we possibly can. So usually what we ask, when we're doing and it's usually around our alcohol consultation, we'll ask for the event day coordinator of that event venue if there is one. We get their number and we try and go through them for everything at that point, where they want the truck parked, how they want the bar set up. What time they would like us to wrap up and leave. Just try and yeah, weddings are stressful enough. So we want to try and make it as least stressful as possible on the bride and groom. So if we can go through the event day coordinator, we try and do that as much as we can.
Well, Tyler, I have learned a lot. I understand you have some other tips that you want to share with people on choosing a unique conversation piece. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you talk to the camera.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, one thing we always talk about with people when we're talking to them about our truck is weddings are expensive, and they're stressful enough as it is. So when you start looking at things to bring into your event, you really want that really awesome conversational piece. One thing we talk about all the time with brides and grooms is like they're looking for that thing that people are going to talk about for years. So one of my tips would be get something that people are always going to remember, and that you're always going to remember. It's a memory that will never leave you, and it's just something that makes that day even more memorable. And then also just the frequency of something that's at your wedding. So when you have a piece at your wedding that people are going to be going to a lot, and using a lot of, that's what a lot of the conversation is going to be about, and people can kind of congregate around that area. And again, it goes back to having that, it's a conversational piece, and it makes everybody, it's a little less stressful for everybody, and I feel like it helps everybody have, be able to kind of relax and have a little bit more fun. And then my last kind of tip would be just, you kind of want something that's convenient. So again, weddings can be stressful, and I get that. Been married for 11 years now, so I understand the whole wedding piece of it can be very stressful. So having a really nice convenient factor for you and your guests is something that will go long ways with people. People want something easy and something that they can just kind of like gravitate towards and say, "Hey, like that's really cool. I'm just going to go. I can easily go do that." So yeah, I would say have a conversational piece, something that people are going to talk about for a long time. Something that a lot of people are going to see and use very frequently, and then also have something that's convenient and something that people feel like they can easily use themselves without having to getting stressed or get someone else stressed out. So those would be my little tips.
Well, Tyler, I have enjoyed talking to you. I've enjoyed learning about not just tap truck, but also about the bar side of things. You're going to have the tap truck out at the Buckeye Wedding Expo coming up this weekend, right?
Yes, sir. And we'll have our tap wall with us so people can kind of see that. The tap wall will probably be inside with us, and then we'll have the tap truck parked outside with a little chalkboard in front of it, kind of giving a little bit more information on the truck. So everybody's going to get to see what the talking point is, which is the truck. That's usually what gets that conversation started. So,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and we will see you this weekend.
all right. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.